Srimati Dr. Anuja Mahapatra, head of the department, and my Bujum classmate, Dr. Padmaja Pandit, respected other faculties, and my dear student friends. I have a honor to be here to share some of my ideas, feelings, thoughts on budget with you. This is the sixth time this year I am going to address on budget. When my Bujum classmate and your esteemed HOD, Dr. Padmaja Pandit, requested me to share some of my knowledge with you, I was very much gladly accepted it. It is not that I will teach a lot of things to you. Rather, I want to learn from you. Learning from students, faculties, is not necessarily reading the books. Human life is enriched by experience, interacting with the various sections of the society, sharing others' problems, sorrows, emotions. So it is not just a test which is enough to make your life an important in the society. Yes, in order to get a job or to have a better academic career, you have to concentrate on your textbooks or other competitive magazines. But to be a good human being, to understand the society and to know the people, you must have experience of interacting with the different sections of the society. So I am very much privileged not to share my knowledge, rather I am privileged to interact with the student friends and faculties. Because I am not an academician, I am from other background. So I have a special experience to be with you. Now, coming to the budget, it is a very vast subject. What is budget? How you will evaluate budget? First, budget is a statement of income and expenditure of a public authority. For example, in your family you have also budget. Your budget is prepared by your mother, basically, not father. What are the source of income? How they will spend? If they have some bill to a house or any marriage or education, they may also borrow. Like this. Similarly, a nation has to run, an economy has to run. So money is necessary. It is a question how government is raising resources. How much government is borrowing? How much government is raising through taxation? How much government is borrowing through disinvestment, privatization, and how it is spending. That is the most important thing. So it is not simple budget, it is the income and expenditure of public authority of a particular financial year. In some countries it is also taken into calendar year. But it shows that the direction in which governments want to run its economy. It shows how, in which area governments want to give priorities. In which area government want to raise more resources. That is the most important thing. Budget has a different aspect. One is the annual financial statement that contains the income and expenditure of 3 years. Annual financial statement contains the income and expenditure of 3 years. 3 years means the budget years, previous years. Second thing, it has 3 aspects. One is a consolidated fund, second is a contingency fund, third is a public account. Consolidated fund means resources generated by taxation or capital shift are brought into the consolidated fund. Government cannot spend single pie without the approval of Parliament from the consolidated fund. For example, now recently budget is presented in February 1st. In the earlier it was presented on February last. So since nothing can be spent without the approval of Parliament, government sometimes has to present the vote on account. For example, they will present vote on account for the expenditure containing 3-4 months, which is passed without opposition. Sometimes you may be confused what is interim budget. Vote on account contains only expenditure side. Sometimes newspaper others also tell me vote on account and interim budget are same. Not like this. Interim budget means this year finance minister has presented the 5th budget and this is the full budget. We are likely to go for election in May. So before this, in February, when finance minister will present budget, this will be interim budget. Interim budget basically contains the same income and expenditure pattern. Normally there is no change in taxation, but government changes also. And after the election is over, government will again present the full budget. This government may present, if any government comes, it will present the full budget. Next comes contingency fund. This is the same rule is applied to also state. According to Article 112, it is the responsibility of the President to ensure the presentation of budget in Parliament and get it passed. It is the responsibility of the President. The Finance Minister present the budget. Contingency fund means, for example, suddenly there was a calamity. There is also calamity fund, disaster fund. Suddenly there was need of huge money. Government cannot spend without the approval of Parliament. That is why this is passed. So from contingency fund, money is raised and spent. But when Parliament is open, then it is replenished. Remember, it is again replenished. Third thing is public account. Public account consists of small savings schemes, basically postals. Government is not owner of the public account money. It is just a custodian of a public account. Government borrows and again repay with interest. These are the 3 aspects of budget. Now, how you will evaluate budget? That is the most important thing. Before going to the income and expenditure aspect, as a student, for example, you are now many students and faculties. You might have some political affiliation, you might have some political inclination. But how you will evaluate budget? I am not telling you evaluate budget against government, or you tell in support of the government, or you become a pawn in the hand of politician. But you must be consistent in your views. Remember, you must be consistent in your analysis and views. You must interpret in a pro-people angle. Forget who is ruling. You do not think whether BJP is ruling or BJD is ruling or Congress is ruling. You don't find it. You should not think about the other students. You must be consistent in your analysis and views and should interpret in a pro-people angle. How the budget is going to address the present problems. How budget is going to curb the hunger, poverty, starvation, inequality. How the budget is becoming progressive or regressive. Who are going to be benefited? You have to interpret in such a way. If the budget benefits the poorer section of the society, lower class of the vulnerable section of the society more, then you can tell it a good budget. If it does not address the problems of the vulnerable section of the society, then you cannot tell it a good budget. You have to, as students, you have to interpret in a pro-people angle and you must be consistent in your views. For example, you are opposing to, you are opposed to FDI. For example, I am not telling you, I am not going to discuss about FDI. But You cannot change your ideology. If government changes, then you do not support the FDI. In the past, the way you are interpreting, you must interpret in it today. Your interpretation analysis should not be changed with the change of government. My point of view. That must be consistent and you must interpret in a pro-people angle. Second thing, no budget can be 10% good or 10% bad. Remember, no budget can be 10% good or 10% bad. Whoever present the budget. Because usually resources are generated in every year. It increases in nominal term. For example, in 1950 and 51, the total GDP was 10,152 crores. At that time, the size of budget was 357, around 357 crores. What is the GDP now? GDP is estimated to be 301.5 lakh crores, where budget size is more than 45 lakh crores. Everything usually increases in nominal term. For example, your salary increases, your tuition fees increases, your expenditure increases every year in nominal term. But you have to consider into the inflation. How the inflation is eroding the purchasing power of people. For example, today you purchase some commodities by spending 1,000 rupees. In next year, when you purchase the same commodities, you may spend more than 1,000 rupees. That is why in nominal term, nothing is evaluated. It is evaluated in terms of taking into the inflation into account as well as percentage of GDP. Remember, sometimes those who are ruling us, irrespective of party and politics, they tell that we are giving so much to the public, we have increased our resources, we have increased the size of budget, in the last some years what the size has increased. No, that cannot be evaluated like this. You have to evaluate taking as a amount as a percentage of a GDP, taking the amount to taking the inflation into consideration, and also you must compare the same with the other countries. Then you can derive the conclusion. Remember, everything normally it is compared with it as percentage of GDP. What is GDP? GDP is the total value of goods and services produced during a year expressed in the real term. Nominal GDP means it is expressed in the current value. Our GDP is estimated to be 301.5 lakh crore in 2023 and 24. And a nominal GDP will grow by 10.5% against the previous year. But real GDP is estimated to rise around 6 to 6.5% around. Last year, in 2022, 22 and 23, nominal GDP was estimated to be increased by 15.4%, by 11.5% around, but it increased more than 15.4%. Nominal GDP increased by larger amount because of inflation. Simple because of inflation. But the real GDP contracted, it was estimated to 8 to 8.5, but it declined to 7%. So nominal GDP increased, but real GDP declined. That means you have to compare with also real GDP. GDP is a combination, is calculated in three methods. One is the product or output method, another one is the expenditure method, third is the income method. First is the output per product method. It is a combination of a growth in the agriculture, industry and services. They are added together. Again, this is gross value added method. Again, indirect tax is added and subsidy is subtracted to derive the final GDP. That means if the government reduces subsidy, and increases indirect tax which is usually regressive, then GDP will also grow. Second method is the expenditure method, government expenditure, private expenditure, investment, and net difference between export and imports. If export is higher, positive. If export is lower, then negative. That is expenditure method. Income method means rent, interest, wages. Those are added together. But more or less, three factors lead to the same conclusion. There may be marginal difference. Usually, first two methods are mostly used, and first two methods usually lead to the same conclusion. And private expenditure constitute around the 58% of GDP. In also service sector constitute the another method. It is around 56-57% of the GDP. One thing as a student you must remember. GDP is indicator of economic activities. It does not reflect the well-being of the human being. GDP is one of the important indicator of economic activities, but it is not the whole story of a society. Sometimes the negative activities, exploitative activities also lead to the growth of GDP. For example, you went and drink liquor. Then you spend money. You got an accident. Your vehicle was repaired, you spend money. It increases GDP. You went to hospital for treatment. GDP increase. Suppose if somebody died and cremated, then GDP, money was spent, so GDP grows. GDP does not take account your the well-being, your thoughts, emotions, pleasures, sorrows. For example, you have got a better job. You feel elated. GDP does not take into your account about your happiness. For example, you lost some of your near and dear ones. You are aggrieved. Or you have suffered a lot in your life. GDP does not consider it. Same thing. For example, one have a maid servant and he pays money. Then GDP grows. If he marries that person, then GDP contracts. Most of the GDP also is linked to the exploitation of the society. If somebody exploits, also GDP grows. Because you spend money, if you go to the doctor, you spend huge money. It shows the GDP grows. But every accounted transaction adds to the GDP. Unaccounted transaction does not grow to the GDP. Black money, when spent, it leads to the GDP. At the time of the creation of black money, GDP does not grow. But when money is spent, GDP is grow. If you spend the black money by building a house or purchasing vehicles, GDP grows. And most of the GDP is due to the growth of our automobile sector, real estate, and where the mostly black money are invested. But that does not mean I undermine the importance of a GDP. GDP is not the whole story, and GDP does not reflect the well-being of the society. And it is expected that India is going to the largest growing economy of this year. But you cannot evaluate anything for a particular year. Suppose in 1 year you score good marks, in other years you fail, then you cannot tell that you are scoring good marks. And GDP also must be reflected in the well-being of the society. GDP must be reflected in the rise of our revenue. GDP must be reflected in the rise of our employment. GDP must be reflected in the increase of our employment, reduction of poverty, hunger and starvation. Just simple growing GDP is not enough. For example, once upon a time, India's GDP and China's GDP was more or less same in 1980 around. Now China's GDP is more than 5 times of India's GDP. And what is important in terms of per capita GDP? Per capita GDP means total GDP divided by total population. India is behind Bangladesh, and India occupies abysmally 142 position. That means behind 141 countries. In terms of per capita GDP, in terms of purchasing power GDP, India is placed 128 position. That means behind 127 countries. In human development index, India occupies 132 position out of 93 countries. That means behind 131 countries. In terms of hunger index, India is placed 107 position out of 123 countries. That means behind is 107. And as hunger level is in India is serious. And around 22 crores people or 16.8% of the Indians are multidimensionally poor. Multidimensional poor is based on the international poverty line and the extreme poverty line, which is based on the 15th average poverty line of the 15 poorest countries. Remember, this our poverty line is much smaller in comparison to American poverty line. And more than 22 crores people are also suffer from malnutrition. So unemployment, you know. So GDP cannot be celebrated, though it is also important indicator of the well-being of the society, important indicators. Now coming to the budget, how the resources are generated, how it is the spent. Most important thing is to raise the resources rather than spend. Because if you are made a minister, you can also spend. There is no magic. But question is how you are raising the resources. Second question is the burden of raising the resources is falling upon who? Whether it is falling upon the richer section of the society or poorer section of the society. Mahatma Gandhi has told, you exactly his views. You, before taking the step, you should contemplate whether the step is going to the benefit the poorest section of the vulnerable section of the society. So government policy should be interpreted in poor people angle. And a society is evaluated how it treats the vulnerable section of the society. Society is not evaluated how it treats the richer section of the society. Society is not evaluated how it treats Adani, Ambani or richer section of the society when you interpret the poor people angle. The question is now coming to the resources generation, the whom is burden is falling. I think burden is falling on the poorer section of the society. Our system is regressive. I am not telling that the system has become regressive these last 8 years. System is regressive for since long years. It is might have aggravated or improved, that is not debatable here. How? For example, poorer section of the society pay more taxes as percentage of their income. As a student, you pay more taxes as percentage of your income as compared to the richer section of the society. You may be surprised how we are paying so much tax, we are not paying tax, isn't it? You pay the indirect tax. The goods and services you consume or purchase, you pay the indirect tax. Resources are generated by one is the tax, second is non-tax, and two aspects. Revenue generation has two aspects. One is the revenue receipt, another is the capital receipt. Revenue receipt is the tax receipt and a non-tax receipt. Tax receipt usually two type tax, direct tax, indirect tax. Direct tax, burden of direct tax fall on the directly the person who consume or directly person pays. Indirect tax is passed to the consumer, ultimate end consumer. Direct tax is the income tax, wealth tax, inherit tax, or corporate tax are direct tax. We don't have a wealth tax, inherit tax. Indirect tax is the excise tax, GST, all are indirect tax, which is the regressive. Second is the non-tax revenue, means money generated by welfare, dividend from public sector or RBI. Various spectrum, auction and other sources of. And a capital receipt consists of your borrowing. Remember, capital government borrows. Capital receipts also consist of borrowing. Second, recovery of loans. Third, interest recoveries. Two combined is both revenue receipt and capital receipt. It become total receipt. And total receipt must be equal to the total expenditure or total size of the budget. Understood? Now, fiscal deficit. You must have gone to the term of fiscal deficit. This year budget has fixed the fiscal deficit to the 5.9% of the GDP. Last 2 years it was 6.4%, and that previous year it was 9.7% of the GDP. Fiscal deficit means excess of expenditure over non-borrowed receipt. Excess of expenditure over non-borrowed receipt. In capital receipt side there is a borrowing. So excess of expenditure over non-borrowed receipt means fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit tells how much government is going to borrow. This year government is liable to borrow around 15 lakh crores. Second thing is revenue deficit. Revenue deficit means revenue deficit, excess of revenue expenditure over revenue receipt. That is a revenue deficit. Revenue deficit tells how the money is spent, the borrowing money, how it is spent. It is whether spent on day-to-day expenditure or creating assets. Remember. Second is effective revenue deficit. Effective revenue deficit means center lends to states for creation of capital asset. That is subtracted from the revenue deficit to derive at the effective revenue deficit. Third thing is primary deficit. Primary deficit means fiscal deficit minus interest payment of previous year. Fiscal deficit is estimated to be this budget minus interest payment of this previous year. That shows how much government is spending on the interest outgo. How much borrowing is spending on the interest outgo. This year budget has around 20% of budget expenditure has been estimated for the interest payment. Remember. These are three indicators. How we will determine whether a government has maintained fiscal deficit discipline or not. Normally, in 2003 and 4, during Vajpayee government, there was some act that is known as Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act. According to the act, fiscal deficit should be 3 to 3.5% of GDP. Revenue is not giving 42%. Center is giving 31%. You may question how. Isn't it? That means center raises resources through sales and surcharges, which does not constitute the divisible fund. And center raises resources by sales and surcharges around 7 lakh crores. It is more than 7 lakh crores. That means states has no share in the 7 lakh crores. That is why states share in total gross tax revenue is 31%, not 40 to 41%. As percentage of GDP, states share has also reduced 6.91% to 6.7%. That means there is a center is not transferring resources to state and centralizing the power. So you cannot tell it is federal, it may be anti-federal. This is two aspects. Second aspect is what I was telling earlier, that is the taxation system. How the question is how the government is generating the resources. Spending is not important, you can spend. How the government is generating resources, whether the burden of generation of resources is falling on the richer section of society or poorer section of the society. Remember, rich should pay more than poor as proportionate of income. Why? Nobody is rich, nobody is great, nobody is a big entrepreneur because of his own talent and ability. It is the social contribution. For example, the school, college in which you are reading, this is built on the taxpayer money, poor people's taxpayer money. Your teacher, what they get salary, it is given from the taxpayer money. The road on which you move is built on the poor man's taxpayer money. The hospital you go is built on poor taxpayer money. Everything is built on poor man's taxpayer money. Another richer section of the society contribute to environment pollution by using AC and so and so. Industrialists contribute to environment pollution, environment degradation and increase in temperature by using the mineral resources. So that is why nobody is great, Nobody can be an industrialist without the labor. Nobody can become an industrialist without using the natural resources. Nobody can become a great man without the help of the poorer section of the society. Nobody can be a great seller unless they are a consumer. So that is why richer section of the society should pay more to the state exchequer, and that should be spent on the improvement of the vulnerable section of the society. Resources should be generated from the poorer section of society or richer section of the society. Tax burden should fall on the richer section of society. But we have a tax system which is regressive. Why regressive? I am telling direct tax is not regressive because it burden is fall on the poor page. But it can be direct tax can be told progressive if the rate of taxation tax rate increases with the rise of income and wealth. We don't have wealth tax. For example, recently government has changed the new tax regime. In new tax regime there is issue, they have we have exemption, so that is not going to be much benefit. And particularly they have reduced the surcharge having the income from 5 crores. They have reduced the surcharge from 37% to 25%. You imagine, I will pay tax at 30%, but those who are playing IPL, youngsters without to playing a single game, they earn crores of people, but they will pay 30%. We had once upon a time where the highest tax rate is 97%. I am not in favor of 97%. But tax rates should increase with the rise of income, richer sections of society should bear the burden. Corporate tax should be much higher. But what is happening not in India, in a global system, richer section of the society are influencing the ruling class. They are deciding the rule and law of the nation. That is why corporate tax are cut, income tax are cut, wealth tax are removed, and burden of the tax, burden of resource generating resources fall on the poorer section of society. That is known as the legal economics. That means you cut the tax, you reduce the interest. According to legal economics, the tide will lift all boats. Rising tide will lift all boats. When there is tide, all boats will increase. While the rising tides may also destroy the boat which is weak, that has not only done. And Margaret Thatcher has advocated the privatization. Some have told there is no alternative. They tell that the supply side economics. Supply side economics, you increase the supply, that means there will be investment and there will be growth. I am not in. How long we can continue? Okay. Supply side economics means they think that by increasing supply will lead to the investment and growth. Remember, that is cutting the tax, reducing interest, but that is wrong. I am in favor of the demand side economics as taught by Keynes. Demand side economics, for example, you wanted to invest. You paid the capital at lower rate interest. You are not asked to pay also tax. But question is that can you invest unless you have a buyer? You want to manufacture car. How much incentives government gives to you? Can you invest in a car unless there is a buyer? Can you invest in television unless there is a buyer? So that is why demand side is important. Demand side, there can be demand for commodities, services if people have purchasing power. People have purchasing power if they have a disposable income. There will be disposable income if there is a job. There is a government will spend more health and education and welfare schemes. So government addressing the supply side is they have reduced the usually tax in corporate and income tax all over the world, not only India, but still India has one of the lowest income tax. Many countries have higher tax and higher corporate tax. And our tax GDP ratio is one of the lowest in the world, remember. That is the main cause of the problem. Main problem is that our tax GDP ratio is one of the lowest in the world. It is around 11.1%. If both state and center combined, it is 18%. In some other countries, it is around 37%, 40%, 51%. In some OECD countries, it is around 37%. That means growth is not reflected in the tax rise. When you are unable, when you are not able to raise the tax, that means you do not have the resources to spend. That means you go for a disinvestment, borrowing, and you cut the expenditure. That is happening. So government is not able to raise the taxation from the richer section of the society because system is rigged in favor of the rich. How? You know, we have many tax havens in different countries. If you keep your money there, your identity will be kept secret. You will have to pay less. You have to pay less taxation. So that is why most powerful rich people, those who have black money, they keep their money in the tax haven where they have to pay less tax, and they spend those money in the election and other purposes. So system is rigged in favor of the rich, and poorer section are bear the burden of taxes. And our tax, whenever government float any welfare schemes, they generate the resources from this poorer section of the society by indirect tax, and second is by way of taxing the petroleum products. Around 7 lakh crores are generated by petroleum tax, which leads to the inflation. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of the people. Remember, inflation erodes the purchasing power of people, and it affects the poorer section of the society more because it is a compulsory tax. That means whenever government flows any welfare scheme, government generates these resources from the poorer section of society by indirect tax. So indirect tax is regressive because it is poor and rich pay at the same rate. Next thing is expenditure. When government expenditure is contraction, it has an increase in somewhere, it has a contract somewhere. When you will evaluate as percentage of GDP. For example, expenditure in particularly Manrega has been cut. For example, in the agriculture ministry, it has been cut. Somewhere also it has been increased. In health, education, as percentage of GDP has also declined. So I am not going to in detail expenditure. Subsidy has been also cut by massive margin. Somewhere has been increased. But the question is, it is the size of a budget, size of a care, and how the burden of raising resources is falling. So government is not this government I am telling. In the past government or previous government, they are failing to raise the resources. They are failing to tax the richer section of society. They are resorting to disinvestment, privatization, and they are resorting to the borrowing, more borrowing, and even there are around 15 lakh crores still is not collected. It is in dispute tax, and money also there are around 12 lakh crores of NPA which has been written off. Only 10 to 13% return. Understood? So. Now, the thing is that the budget has not, the burden of revenue generation has fallen upon the poorer and middle class of the session society, and budget has not addressed the unemployment, poverty, and inequality. According to Oxfam report, 1% of the population own the 40.5% of our wealth. But from 2012 to 2021, the wealth created, around 30% wealth has gone to 1% population. 100 billionaire, their wealth of 100 billionaire is 800 billion. And 50% of the population owns only 3 to 4% of wealth. So that is it is not a question of inequality in India. Inequality is rampant in all other countries, but India is the most unequal country. And unemployment problem is more rampant today. Remember, if there will be not employment in all organized sector, there will be no employment in all organized sector. How the brilliant youth, what they will do? It is not that the government can create more job for everyone. But policy should be increase employment, and there is a government has not, in the central government the employment has reduced. That is the most important. And one thing, if the employment in the organized sector created, it leads to employment in all organized sector. For example, if you got a job, you can purchase a vehicle, you can build a house, you can purchase a car, or you can purchase a TV. That means you can purchase any commodity services from other shop. That means that you can appoint a maid servant, you can appoint a driver. So other job cannot be created in all organized sector or informal sector without creating job in the organized sector. Remember, that is the most important thing. The policy government is telling, giving emphasis to all organized sector, but still 2 crore job in a year is still a distant dream. That is the one thing. So basically, government has gone to address the richer section of the society, where vulnerable section of the society has been marginalized. It is not that any budget can be told as a totally bad or good. Budget has to be evaluated in a pro-people angle. What I analyze, I am not telling that budget is absolutely bad and it is unacceptable. I am not telling that budget should not be, budget is totally absolutely bad. But why I interpreted in a pro-people angle, the way I consistently interpret. Since I have written 2002, I interpret in a pro-people angle. How it is going to the benefit the poorer section of the society, how going it to benefit the students, particularly health education has become so costlier, and lifestyle inflation is more today. You must remember, when we are reading in school and college, you are using a bicycle, or we are going on walking. But today, when a child enters into school, she demands a two-wheeler, and you enter the school, you have minimum, you need 50,000 money. You enter a corporate hospital, you may need 50,000 money. So the what should be the public health and education should get the more priority. That is the most important. Public sector should not be privatized. I am not against the private sector. I am against the privatization of public sector, or weakening the public sector so as to allow the public sector to, as BSNL was dismantled, to allow the geo growth. But our economy is a mixed economy, where public sector, private sector play important role, but public sector should play the dominant role or commanding the height of the economy. Gradually what is happening, there is an ideological assault on the public sector that will destroy the future of the society, because a public sector caters the vulnerable of society. A government hospital, a government college, a government institution has a sympathy, tuition fees is less. So that means if we go on privatizing everything, then the vulnerable section of the society will be marginalized. We have 140 crores people in country. The address should be not 40 crores. Government should address the 100 crores. So that is why what I feel budget has not taken the problems of the marginalized vulnerable section of the society. And I hope you must have been what you are expecting to know. I have tried my best to explain, and I hope you must excel in your career. 3 things I will tell, 3 lines, then we will complete. Remember one thing, that one is failure in one area does not mean failure in all other areas. Life does not mean only getting a brilliant job or brilliant career. Life has many values. Society, remember those who have contributed to society. Lata Mangeshkar is a simple martyr, but she is respected and known every section of the society. So you should not feel anything that you cannot achieve in your life. Second thing is failure in one time does not mean failure in all of them. Cricketers are dropped, again they are coming. So one time you have failed does not mean you do not know. You might have not got engineering medical, but you may get IS. Many people have not clerical, they are getting professional officers. Many people have not got engineering medical. You take the history of the IS officers, most of them have not got engineering medical, they have got IS. So you do not know what is stored in the future. And remember, everybody struggles in his life. Lord Rama, whom you perceive as God, has struggled more than anybody else. Sri Krishna has struggled, Harishchandra has struggled. So you don't think that you struggle, everybody struggles, we struggle. Everybody does not fail. So it is your determination, dedication, aspiration, ambition can help you to achieve those in life. You must have ambition, aspiration. Ambition, aspiration lead to achievement. But you should try to achieve your aspiration by fair means, what I want to tell. And you do not know what is stored in the future. Unless you try, unless you achieve, then you cannot achieve anything. For example, in the beginning, I was listening to the one your friend was announcing. I was very much impressed the way he was announcing. So where we are a student like you. So you determine, you try to excel in your life. It is not that you need to be IIT, IIM. You need to be a good human being also. Today the major problem is to become a good human being. That is the difficult thing is to satisfy everybody. Remember. So with this, I conclude my speech. I thank you all giving a patience hearing to my speech. I thank the principal. I thank my Muslim classmate, Dr. Fatunur Politi, and your esteemed teachers for giving me a chance to share my thoughts and feelings. With this, I conclude my speech. It has been achieved in a different time in PG changed. And particularly in Corona pandemic, there was a shrinkage of revenue, there was a more expenditure, so fiscal deficit grew to 9.7%. I am not against fiscal fundamentalism, but there should be also restriction. Borrowing is not bad, but borrowing means it should be within the repayment capacity. When you borrow, if you borrow and spend in the luxurious consumption or purchasing vehicles, then you may suffer debt trap. If you borrow, spend on your education, or if you borrow purchasing house, then your asset may grow. Borrowing, that means borrowing should create assets. Borrowing should be spent in the productive consumption, not creating, not a day-to-day consumption. So, but at that time, the economist was very much criticizing when project there is a deficit. Same economist has changed mind because economist changes mind. Economists are bureaucrats, changes their philosophy, ideology, voice and speech, the way government moves. Once upon a time they were telling that fiscal deficit is bad. Now they are telling that 5-9% is okay. Once upon a time there was inflation. They are telling that it is important inflation, so there should not be no interest rise. Now same people are telling inflation should be curbed and there should be rising interest rate. They vary their thought process in accordance with the government policy. But as a researcher, as a student, as a columnist, you must interpret in an independent way. As a researcher, as a student, you must remember, you should not accept anything blindly without examining in your mind because some great person has told. Even a Nobel laureate has told something, you should not accept, you should examine your mind. That will increase your research mentality and inquisitiveness, independent thinking, critical thinking. Similarly, you should not reject some views because he is an ordinary person. Even in a daily wager, in a house maid servant tells something, you should not reject, you should analyze whether he is telling right thing or wrong thing. That is research means, that means you must have a critical and independent thinking. What I believe. So fiscal deficit is already 5.9% means it is compared to high. But important thing I am least concerned with fiscal deficit. I am concerned with the debt because the government borrows, debt increases. America has debt is around 137% of GDP. Japan has a borrow debt is more than 200% of GDP. Our debt has a debt GDP by total liability of both state and central combined together 90% of GDP. Central is around 57% of the GDP. And it was expected that it should be within 60%. But it has increased from 72% from 2019 now 90. But Indian context is totally different from advanced countries. America has a dollar hedge money. America can print currency according to its own. America can raise resources according to its own. America can borrow happily, which India cannot. That is why India, you cannot compare India with the America. So the important thing is when government is borrowing is not leading to the creation of asset. The benefit is going to the richer section of the society. How? If borrowing would have created asset or created growth, then that means if debt as percent of GDP would have remained constant. It would not have increased. For example, if you borrow and spend in your asset, that means your borrowing amount in absolute term may increase. But as a percent of your asset, it will not increase. So when government total borrowing is increasing as percentage of GDP, that means borrowing is also not reflected in terms of GDP. Second thing, what is happening? When growth is, we are seeing the consumption-led growth, borrowing-led growth. When growth, the benefit of growth is going to the richer section of the society, but poorer section of the society are suffering because they have to bear the burden of debt payment. When government pay interest or repay the debt, that means government cut the welfare expenditure. You may see there are so many welfare expenditure. But you do not know there is also cut in expenditure. Health and education is most important sector, is privatized. That is the important thing. So government cut the welfare expenditure, and for either to finance the welfare expenditure, government raises revenue for the poorer section of society. That is the most dangerous thing. That means borrowing is not reflected in the well-being of society. It is benefiting the richer section of the society. That is the problem of the borrowing. But as percentage of GDP in terms of total of fiscal deficit, that is a separate thing. Now coming to thing, how you have to evaluate the budget. You have to evaluate the budget as percentage of GDP you are taking into the inflation into consideration. When GDP is calculated taking into inflation considered, that is a constant GDP. And here inflation is calculated not consumer price inflation or wholesale price inflation. It is calculated in terms of price deflator. In present budget, the budget is estimated to be the 45 lakh crores. Last year revised budget it was around 41.5 lakh crores. So the budget size increases 7.4%. Is that it? So you may tell that budget has increased 7.4%, so budget is good. But as a student of economics, as an independent thinker, as a critical thinker, you have to interpret in a different way. What I do? You have to see what is the estimated or projected nominal GDP of this financial year. And it is estimated that the nominal GDP will grow by 10.5%. When nominal GDP is estimated to grow 10.5% and the budget size increases 7.4%, it does not match the rise of nominal GDP. So budget cannot be told as expansionary, it may be contractionary. And it is a theory, what I am telling about theory. Second important thing, budget as a percentage of GDP is shrinking. For example, in 2020, it was around 17%. Last year, it was more than 15%, and this budget, has been decided to be 14.92%. Then budget size as percentage of GDP is shrinking. And in other countries, in OECD countries, other advanced countries, the size of budget as percentage of GDP is more than 50% in many countries. That means when your size of cake is not increasing, that means you are cutting somewhere when you are giving somewhere, and you do not know where it is cut. That means our size of budget as a percent of GDP is 14.92%, where in the advanced countries it is more than 50%. That means how smaller is the budget. I am not blaming the particular any government. I am telling the system. And this size of budget as percent of GDP is not increasing for the last many years. Even today in the last 2-3 years it has shrunk. That is the best problem. Second thing is budget, whether it is federal or anti-federal. Budget has a provision to the transfer of the resources to the states. Both the state and the central spend. And the entire spending, out of entire spending, more than 65% is borne by the state. But the revenue generation capacity of the center is more than 68%. So that is why center has to transfer the resources by raising through taxation to the state. Usually center says we are giving so much to state. No. Because they are raising the revenue and they have the power to raise the revenue by any means. They can impose new tax, they can change the tax, state cannot. So they have to give pay to the states. So that is determine how much center will transfer the resources to state. It is determined by the Finance Commission recommendation. According to the 14th Finance Commission, it was increased from the divisible fund that will increase from 32 to 42%. When divisible fund increased 32% to 42% by state share, simultaneously government changed some central sector scheme and central sponsor scheme. Central sector schemes mean fully financed by center. Central sponsor scheme means sharing. When center gives some person, state gives some person. So there was a restructuring. So ultimately center gave not